Well, greetings and welcome, everyone. This is another episode of Karl's Spirits, and tonight is something a little special. We're at a different location. I've invited 3 friends down. We're going to do a blind tasting of value budget bourbons. This would be great for the holidays. Maybe you'll learn something a little different here, and maybe you'll look at some bourbons in a little bit different light. So stay tuned to Karl's Spirits Value Bourbons Blind Taste Off. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here at a local little retreat, and we're doing a blind taste off. We're doing 3 blind tastings of fairly common bourbons. They all 3 have the same mash bill, or almost the same mash bill. They're within just a few percentage points of each other. They have the same proof, and they are from 3 different distilleries. So we're looking to see where you think these are. These are totally blind. We have with us a couple of friends here. We have
Jeff Scott.
Jeff and Corey Crosno. They're here to help me out today. And so we're going to start out with pour number 1. Pour 1, I'm not going to tell you what it is. I am going to tell you it's 75% corn right off the front. It is 15% rye and 10% barley. So pretty standard mash bill. So go ahead and taste and tell me what you think of pour number 1.
The color is light.
It is. You can smell the corn though. You can smell the corn mash.
I'd call the color a golden almost.
Not very dark. It's got some definitely caramel in there. It's got some wood, but it does taste a little young.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Got a little green taste, I would say.
Definitely oaky.
Mm-hmm. These are Kentucky?
These are all 3 in Kentucky, yes. All 3 are from Kentucky.
All the same proof, all the same mash bill.
All the same proof and within just a few percentage points on mash bill.
Okay.
So.
No, it's not real complex. I mean, it's pretty much your standard Kentucky bourbon, your caramels, corn.
Pretty smooth. Not much spice to it, not much pepper.
Did you say how much proof it was?
I did not say proof.
And not a real long finish.
No.
Not at
Didn't
all.
taste like a high proof either. It didn't taste like a rye to me at all. Interesting.
So just encapsulating the thoughts here, fairly young,
Fairly young.
not much of a finish, but very smooth.
Pretty simple, not complex.
Pretty simple and not complex.
Yes.
Okay.
That's exactly
Fair
what
enough.
I'd say.
Let's move to pour 2. That's the middle one. Again, 75 corn, 13 rye, 12 barley on the mash bill for this one.
Boy, it's not much different in color though.
No.
The color is
Just
very similar.
A little darker, maybe just a hint, but not much.
It tastes a little bit of honey
Yeah.
on this one.
Most definitely honey. Little butter and cornbread.
Yeah, it's a thin mouthfeel.
I like it better than the first, just personally.
Okay.
But still pretty basic. Intro, not hardly any spice at all.
Yeah, and it doesn't, not very complex, but I do like it more. The honey really comes through to me. The very first taste, right when it hits your lips, honey, and it finishes without any burn or anything
Right.
like that.
No. Definitely no Kentucky hug. I don't know what you call it. A Hawaii hug. It's just not there. Again, pretty simple. These have to be fairly low proof.
They have to be low proof. They really do. Man.
There's the hint of something at the very end. It's not spicy at all, but I'm not sure what it is.
I'm glad you said that, because that's what I'm trying to figure out too.
And
Almost, I know, I'm going to say it and you're going to agree because I
course.
put it in your head.
Yeah.
But I would say almost orange peel. There's some orange to it to me.
I could see that. And a little bitterness at the very end, I think.
So a citrus zest.
Citrus.
Citrus zest is what we're going to call that.
Okay.
Make it churchy and sounding neat, right?
With a little honey up
Okay,
front.
so still pretty basic.
Very
Little notes of honey here on the front, little citrus zest toward the end. I think it's a little sweeter.
Definitely
Yeah.
sweeter.
So than the first pour.
Definitely.
Okay. And then that goes to our third and final product. Again, 75 corn, 15 rye, 10-year barley.
Again, very similar color.
Yeah. Not real,
Almost a golden.
especially what I've been seeing out there lately. Maybe it's just what I've been pulled to is much darker.
Absolutely.
I think everybody is trying to go a little darker, and maybe it's the weeded stuff that I've been kind of pulled towards, but
You know-
certainly like.
I'm glad you said that. I'm almost wondering if these are a weeded
Is that-
bourbon because it's so smooth.
So,
Banana.
yeah,
Banana right off the top.
100%. Oh
Okay.
gosh.
Interesting.
Banana boat. That is a banana boat.
It's a banana boat?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
And again, no burn on the end. Got to be low proof. I still prefer the second one because the honey maybe, but there's not a lot of difference between this one and the first one, I don't think, but maybe,
To me, the difference is the banana.
yeah.
And I think I like this one.
Do you?
Yeah. A little better than the other two. I'm not getting much on the smell.
The smell, it doesn't hit me hard with anything on the smell.
Again, it's got a thin mouthfeel, just like the others.
Disappears quick. The banana's very much on the front end, and then it disappears right away, and really, I don't taste anything out of it. I don't want to be negative about it, but I'm,
So I would say that this is pretty simplex as well.
Simplex?
Yeah, that's a word,
A
right?
simplex?
Yeah.
it is
Simplex.
after a third drink.
Yeah, simplex. If it's not, it is now.
It is now. It's very simplex.
I like it.
Simplistic.
yeah.
How about that?
Now, I personally, on that third one, I agree with the bananas in the front. I get a lingering taste of mint.
Mint.
Really?
And I know,
All right.
Corey, you're very
And
anti-mint.
spearmint, when I taste spearmint, it really turns me off. Now, I've had others that hit me a lot more, and I'm
Right.
like, oh God, I can't take that again. But this one, I understand what you're saying. There's a hint underneath of some mint, but it doesn't hammer it at the end or anything like that.
Not enough to turn you off. And you don't like mint. There's not much, I don't smell much of the traditional or taste much of the traditional flavors. Not much of the caramel.
But I would say in all three, you've hit it on the head. Not a lot of complexity, not a lot of linger, not a lot of, man, this is hot. I mean,
Not much
it's-
finish.
Right.
Not at all.
If-
Very, very drinkable. Obviously, all three. And that may be the problem. You can drink a whole lot of it all night long if you needed to. And then you'd feel it the next day.
That's right.
I would think that these would be all kind of beginner, entry-level gateway bourbons.
Yeah.
If I'm buying any of these and I'm paying more than $35, I'm gonna be irritated.
Okay,
I agree.
fair enough.
I agree. Good,
Fair
that's
enough.
a good point. That's a good
So Jeff, what are you going with? Pour 1, 2, or 3? If you were gonna buy, which one would you want to walk out with?
I think I would probably go with number 3 just because of the banana up front. Again, it is pretty simplex.
Okay, very simplex.
Simplistic.
Okay.
I don't want to pay more than $35
Sure.
for sure, but I would probably go with 3.
Okay. And Corey?
I'm definitely going with number 2.
Okay.
I do like the honey on it. The only reason I would say probably the next thing is the third one is just because seems to be some taste to it. The first one just didn't seem like it had any taste that I could really, really hone in on. Definitely number 2 would be mine.
Okay.
Number 1 wasn't horrible,
It was the first.
Nothing
so.
that attracts me to it.
No.
Okay, fair enough. So I have not told you guys what you're drinking or what the lineup could possibly be. This was
No
totally
idea.
blind. And I'm going to be really honest. They were all 380 proof bourbons. So you're right. They're low proof. This would be an entry level. In fact, it's kind of even beyond entry level. These are pretty well bottom shelf bourbons.
Okay.
Okay. And so I wanted to see what an honest reaction would be to what we consider bottom shelf here in our area. And so I picked 3 bottles. They all had about the same proof. They all were 80, about the same mash bill. All of them are aged between 3 and 4 years.
Okay.
So it's all,
So they're
all
young.
very similar. They're all very young bourbons.
Yep.
The first one, we'll go ahead and talk about it first.
Of course.
The first bottle comes from Sazerac, Buffalo Trace. It is Benchmark Old Number 8.
Yes.
That's Benchmark Old Number 8 brand. This actually started out back in the 60s as a product of Seagram's, as a luxury brand.
Really?
Back in the 60s, this was a luxury brand. Seagram's actually contracted with Four Roses to make this. Did for a while. Of course, then Seagram's went through its breakdown and broke apart. Sazerac picked it up in the early 90s, and they've been producing Benchmark ever since. They're marketing it as a competitor to Jack Daniels. Look at that label.
Yeah.
It's not ripping off Jack Daniels,
Yeah.
but it's a black label with fancy white lettering, and there's a big 8 in the middle instead
Old
of
number.
old number, whatever. It is to resonate with those Jack Daniel drinkers. So
Old number 8, but it's 3 to 4 years.
yeah, but it's 3 to 4 years. And it comes in right at 80 proof. And this is Mash Bill 1 from Buffalo Trace, which is their low rye, so it's about 10% rye. And it's the exact same mash bill as like Buffalo Trace bourbon itself, Colonel E.H. Taylor, things like that. Same mash bill, different proofs, different aging, of course, makes those higher proof or higher sought after bourbons.
Interesting.
So that was number 1, not your guys' pick, but I wanted to bring that one out
Let's see
first.
Crosnow's pick.
Yes.
What's
So Crosnow's pick, you have any idea what it could possibly be?
I have no idea. I really don't.
I think it's one you've looked at and you've passed on so many times you can't even tell.
Can I guess?
Yeah,
Old Barton.
good call, but
I
not.
Old
Oh!
Come on.
The Crow.
Old Crow.
Crow.
Old
Yes.
Crow. We've all seen Old Crow on the shelf. We often think of this is what Grandpappy drank, out on the back porch.
Yep.
This was one of the best-selling brands of all time, all the way up into the 1950s when it just fell apart. And it's currently produced with the same mash bill by Jim Beam. Jim
Really?
Beam owns Old Crow, produces it with their mash bill, and then marketed as a bottom shelf pour.
Sure.
So you're picking up that Jim Beam taste on that pour number 2. I really think that's what that is. So I thought Old Crow, we've all looked at it, we've all passed on it so many times. I just thought it'd be fun to try to see where it would fall in a real true blind taste.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm kind of surprised because I actually thought it'd be worse than that.
And I agree.
Because of people making fun of it
Exactly.
so much. Obviously, you can still pick up advertising out there, old 40s, 50s, 60s advertising of Old Crow, which is really cool, but you'd never order it.
No.
Like you're not, normally you don't go up and, like if you're gonna do an Old Crow, you're probably putting something with it.
Right.
You know, but interesting.
Well, the thing with the Old Crow, I think it really got a bad rap in the 50s and 60s because the producer at the time messed up on the setback. So the setback is what they keep out of the mash tub to put in the new mash to help it ferment. Well, it was contaminated. And it produced a lot of off flavors, and they went ahead and sold it anyway. And so I think a lot of the rap about it being really terrible bourbon comes out of that time when it was using the contaminated setback. Back in it was, I forget the exact year, but it was in the 1960s. So, and since then, it of course just went bottom shelf. If it even makes the bottom shelf. You know, a lot of times it's in the small bottle behind the cash register that you just pick up and slide in that coat pocket and move on, so.
On both these two, I mean, we didn't grade them real high, but they tasted better than I thought they would just looking at them on the shelf. There's others that we have drank that we make fun of that are more expensive. That
By
worse than
far.
those.
By the way, we haven't even talked about price point.
Yes, I was gonna ask you.
The benchmark came in, I think it was $8.99. $8.99. And I'm pretty sure the Old Crow came in at $7.99 or $8.99 as well.
Really?
So we're talking pretty basic.
Yes.
You know, like you said, Jeff, that Old Crow is drinkable
Sure.
for $8.99. And we've had bottles that have been in the $50, $60 range that we make fun of because they are not worth that. And I think that's kind of an important point to remember, that you can always find value if you get away from those brand names that you think are supposed to be that great.
And at $8.99, what are you losing?
What are you losing?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. What are you losing?
Right.
So
You know what you do is you buy them, you put it in your decanter at
Yes.
home.
That's exactly
in a
right.
fancy crystal decanter,
Yes.
and when your buddies come over, go, man, I got something for you.
yeah,
Or
that's
when your
exactly
family
right.
comes for Christmas, my brothers, I hope you're not listening to this, but that gives me ideas.
All right, our third and final is Very Old Barton.
All right.
There it is. They're Very Old Barton. This is a product of Barton 1792. This is their value line, of course. And it was a little bit more expensive than the others. I think it was $12.99.
Oh, hey.
I know, hey, oh. Again, Barton is owned by the parent company of Sazerac, same as Benchmark, but produced two different towns in two different parts of Kentucky. But Old Barton comes in at 80 proof as well with the same mash bill, 75 corn. I think it's 13 rye and 12 barley. So
I think, too, if I've heard correctly, it's getting harder to find this bottle because of the price point, because of the taste.
yes,
I mean, back in the day, you could buy the 1.75s for less than $20,
Absolutely.
and you're just like, oh, okay, you know, it's around $17.99, and you're just like, okay, man, that's a lot of liquor for
That's
that
right.
price. And now, guys are starting to taste it, and I think it is harder to find on the shelves.
well, I think more and more people are turning to it because of its economy. It's nothing special.
Right.
You know, it does have a banana note. It's got a couple other little notes in there that you all talked about. But, you know, Barton produces some very good bourbons.
Absolutely.
The 1792 line, we've all had almost all of those at one point or another, and they're all really very well done. But Barton also produces about 50 other spirits or they produce and age for other companies that do not produce their own. So what you're drinking out of Costco or whatever, Trader Joe's is a good example.
Trader Joe's.
The Trader Joe's house brand
Right.
is reputed to be actually Barton juice. So they are producing for a lot of other companies. So
Just putting different labels.
just putting different labels on it. So again, if you get past that label, we can get into those tastes and flavors. And while they're not complex, while they're not, you know, very long, because these are all 80 proofers, we could have went with a higher row. But I wanted something fairly consistent here, and I think that's what we found.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
guys, I want to say
fun.
thank you for setting in on this. This is the
Yeah,
first time I've
thank
had
you.
guest appearances here on
Yeah.
Karl's Spirits, and I was kind of excited to do this. I've been wanting to do it for a long time, and I just want to say to you guys, thank you, and of course, peace and happy pours.